I'm Mike Bradner, and this is Capitol Views, and we have with us Brian Rogers, the Chancellor at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. And of course, I went to that university, but it was just the University of Alaska then. Yeah. And Brian was a former student at the university, and now you're running the show. So what's the big item this year?
The biggest item on this year is our combined heat and power plant. The plant, we have a single plant that heats the entire campus and provides most of the electricity for the campus. It's 50 years old. It was built in the early 60s with a 50-year life, and so it's time to replace it.
Now that produces not only the electrical power, but you're producing steam heat?
The steam heat it really is primarily a heating plant. Produces steam heat, but we run the steam through turbines in order to generate electricity. So what we're looking for is an upgrade to the plant that would replace the two old coal boilers with new technology, cutting our operating costs, cutting our emissions, and providing another 50 years of life.
And the fuels would be?
The primary fuel would be coal. It would accept up to about 15% biomass, but burning really with 21st century technology instead of the 19th century technology we've been using.
So you're heating how much?
So we're heating over 3 million square feet of buildings. And essentially what the decision that was made in the late 50s, early 60s was in Fairbanks, one big smokestack is way better than 200 small ones, which is what if we had a separate heating plant for each building.
Are you a little out of the inversion area?
Yes, and so it gets it up above the inversion. We have a bag house that cleans the emissions and would with the new part of the plant as well.
So the smokestack would be?
It's about 100 feet high. It's a big one, and essentially gets us out of the inversion. And
that allows you to scrub it down.
Yeah, scrubs it down, and so we look at oxides of sulfur going down by 60%, and PM 2.5, which is a big issue in Fairbanks. We're low already. We would be reducing emissions there by 45%. So the permit that we've applied for and that is in process right now actually says reduces the limits that we could do off the plant.
Now you're on the rail siding, right?
Yes.
From Healy.
Yeah. So all Healy coal comes in by car into the hopper and into the plant.
And these are rolling, unload, and load now.
That's right.
They sort of move along and unload it automatically.
That's right. And so today, the plant we have now, the coal side of it, provides about 85% of our energy. We also have oil backup boilers. We have a little bit of natural gas that we can use when we can get it. And then we buy electricity from Golden Valley. The new plant would be self-contained and would significantly reduce our costs. We spend close to $10 million a year on fuel today. Would bring it down to about $5 million a year. So long-term savings, but the major upgrade to the plant is a very expensive capital project. And so we're looking at the university financing about 20% of the cost with our operating cost savings on fuel, but we need a significant state support to make it happen.
Now, state support, that's going to have to be GF or bonds.
GF or bonds, yeah. or one of the energy funds, something like that.
Some process.
Yeah. And at $195 million, not an inexpensive project.
Is that the total price?
Total price is $245. We would pay $50 off with our operating cost savings. And essentially, if you look at it as a 50-year project, which it would be, not much on an annual basis, but certainly a big lift in a tough legislature.
5 million square feet is a lot of...
3 million square feet is a lot, yeah. That's a lot to heat.
And those buildings are, some of them new, some of them...
Some of them new, but the average age of buildings on the Fairbanks campus is 35 years. And so if we look at the total 3.1 million square feet, that's a lot of older buildings. We've done what we can to do energy retrofits. We've done energy audits to say where can we save money on heat and on electricity on them. We did about $6 million worth of work last year. We got another round going to say how can we make more efficient buildings compared with the old ones we've had. Well, like the Lola Tilly Commons, for example. We're replacing that with an addition to the Wood Center where we'll have all our food service, and we won't offer food service in the old Commons anymore. That was an old, inefficient building.
So what's the oldest building?
The oldest building would be the Brooks Building, originally for School of Mines, now has the College of Rural and Community Development.
Now, that's a new program we can talk about
Yeah.
later, and but that's our University of Alaska. It started out, and I can't help saying that when I went there in territorial days, it had no tuition. And
Well,
how
and-
they did that, I have no idea.
And we still have the second lowest tuition among public colleges in the country, among all the states. But certainly, you know, we're coming up on our 100th anniversary. The cornerstone for the university was laid in 1915. It was chartered in 1917. So we're about to hit the end of our first century.
And you have how many daytime students or regular
So we have
students?
a total of 11,000 students UAF-wide, 6,000 are on the Fairbanks campus, 3,500 or so at the community college campus in downtown Fairbanks, and then rural campuses spread throughout the rest of the state.
You have a big sprawl. I mean,
Big sprawl from Unalaska to Kotzebue and the entire interior.
That's bigger than the state of Texas.
It is, and when you count our research centers in Kodiak and Juneau and Seward, bigger than
everywhere.
any other university. We're everywhere in Alaska.
Brian, we're out of time, and I'm Mike Bradner, and this has been Capitol Views, and we've been talking to Brian Rogers, the Chancellor at the University of Fairbanks.